So hey, how you doing? Happy Sunday evening. This is my second video today. I wanted to get this one out too because someone has specifically asked me about paranoid ideation. So if you're wondering what it is and you know someone who has said they have this problem, or maybe you yourself are wondering if you have this problem, let me take you through a scenario. Let's say you walk into the cafeteria, either at work or school, depending on your age range, and you walk in, and as you look over, you see two people talking, and you start thinking, are they talking about me? They did kind of look my way. And then you start to ruminate. Well, they were laughing too. I wonder if they're laughing at me. And I wonder if something's wrong. I'm sure they were talking about me. And this starts to snowball, and you take it way beyond what the actual facts are. The facts are you looked over and saw two people talking. The fact is they might have glanced up at you. I mean, after all, you were looking at them. That's the only facts you actually have, but for some reason, when you're dealing with this stress-related paranoid ideation, you're on edge, and it gets worse sometimes when you're in a situation where you're very stressed and your tension is building. Then you see things and you start to perceive them as being directed at you. When people are laughing and talking, you assume they're laughing and talking about you. When someone looks up in your direction, you feel like they're staring at you. I was actually in school one time, and I had a client make the comment that, when I asked why were they fighting, well, he was mugging me, and I'm like, mugging you? Help me with this. What do you mean mugging you? Looking at me, just looking at me. And I guess the idea of a mug, a face, and the person was just staring at their face. And I'm like, "Are you sure?" "Oh, yeah, I'm positive. I'm positive that person was staring at me." And they got into a fight over that, which seems like a wild reason to fight someone just because they looked in your direction. For someone who's dealing, though, with paranoid ideation, the ability to simply rationalize it away is difficult. So remember my other talks when I talked about how as you get more emotional, you get less rational. But if you can picture your brain as like having two parts, and as one part starts to fill up with emotion, it makes the other side go down in rational thinking. You cannot rationally think your way up to get rid of the emotion. You have to find a way to bring the emotion down, and then rational thinking starts to restore itself. So in the situation of it being stress related, as you get upset and you get burdened and things are going on, your emotions are running very high. If you're charged, if you're upset, now think, especially if you're someone who is suffering from borderline personality disorder, you might be riding emotional waves. You might be dealing with a lot of frustration. So your emotions are running very high, which means your rational thinking is running very low. And then when you see somebody do something, you start to assume it's against you. You may even get to a point where you start feeling the whole world is against you. Everybody's against you. Nobody likes you. Nobody cares about you. Your mind is a runaway freight train in this case. And when this occurs, you start to get more frustrated and more angry or more sad or whatever emotion. It tends to keep just building and building and building. And so here you're stuck in the problem when you're convinced that everyone is feeling this way. There's just no rational way to dig out of this until you're able to bring yourself down. So, how do you get out of this? Coping skills. Remember, I told you that there's always the one you can do in any situation is take a deep breath. Literally. And every time you do this, you can actually feel some calm coming in. And it may be very difficult. If you're really stressed, at first, it's hard to get your chest to open up and take the air, so you may actually have to stretch and force the air in. And it may be very difficult at first, but you keep doing it. The other thing that you can do is you can change from this stressful state. by watching something that, very funny on a video. That's why I tell people all of that YouTube stuff you got, pick out some YouTube videos that make you laugh. A comedian, something that's fast and furious when it comes to the humor, they can bring it out quick. It changes your emotional state. And as your emotional state changes in that moment, then you're able to start to relax and come down. Then you can go back in to your cognitive coping skills. Once you're calmed down, then you can sit and ask yourself reasonable questions about, what did I actually see? What actually happened? What part of it is me speculating? What part of it is facts versus what is opinions? As you do this, you'll understand that this process of calming down before rationalizing is very important. Because the more you try to rationalize when you're not calm, harder it's going to be to rationalize, and the more emotional you'll become. This also works for other people who want to jump in and tell you just calm down. That doesn't work. And people who want to come in and start arguing the rationality of the situation before you've calmed down, that won't work either because you'll just dig your heels in. You have to use those coping skills to calm yourself down, to come down. It may mean going and taking a shower just to break that state for a minute. And then I always tell people, if you're in there and you're taking a nice warm hot shower and you're feeling good and you still go, well, it's still in my mind and I can't quit thinking about it. Reach down and turn that hot water off and let it go ice cold for a second. I guarantee you, for about 4 or 5 seconds, you will not think of your problems rather than the one problem, how to get that hot water back on again. And in that moment, you've broken that chain of events, that rumination cycle. Going for a walk is an excellent way to do this. Petting your animals, if you have pets, petting them. Going out in the backyard and actually looking at the trees, taking a look at, a piece of artwork, doing things that help you get your mind just for a second slightly distracted and off of that certain emotional run. Don't just only distract yourself though, because you'll run into that problem because you're never addressing the actual rational part of it. You need to go back and do that. One of the things that you need to do that will really help you is, as soon as you find yourself calming down, then sit there and go, okay, maybe I need to take out a sheet of paper, draw the line down the middle. The same way as those basic CBT skills will now come back into play of going, okay, what facts do I have that they were actually talking about me? Well, I know for a fact they were talking, and I know for a fact they looked at me. Now, what could we have on the other side? And it depends on the situation, but it'd be like, well, they don't even know me. Now, here's where that paranoid thinking comes in. They don't know me, but maybe they actually know me through somebody else, and I don't remember them. See, that's that emotional side whipping up and the paranoid thinking coming in. Sometimes it helps to have another person there after you've calmed down and let them know, don't argue with me until I'm calmed down. Let's calm down first. Now I'm calm. Now you can talk to me and ask me, is this really real? What are the other possibilities? And then even a step further, even if they were talking about you, what does it matter? What's the end game here? I mean, does it really matter if those people were talking about you or not? Do you really care? A lot of times you get on this whole, oh my God, this is horrible. And I say, what are the consequences? I don't know. So wait a minute. So you have all of this worry about something that's going to happen, that if it happens, it will have no consequence on you, or it doesn't matter. That's a lot of wasted worry. So backing up, one of the basic CBT interruption techniques, thought interruption or anger interruption technique, stop, like the stop sign, where you remember the acronym is very easy, STOP. And then sometimes they use STOP and an additional P. And I'll explain both of them to you. So with this, stop, first thing is step back. So if you're in a situation where you're starting to think someone's talking about you, they're against you, they're mad at you, they're angry at you, they don't like you, step back from the situation. T, take a deep breath. See, we're back to that deep breathing. Then, O, observe. What do you actually see? And then try a different perspective. Remember when I talked earlier about looking at things from a different point of view? And in this case, not only did I observe, I just observed them, but they're no longer even looking at me. They're not talking to me. They're doing their own thing. Maybe it was me reading into it. Practice what works. That's the second P for some people. And in this case, practicing what works means, okay, going for a walk. Maybe I can't quit thinking about it right now. So I need to do something to stop thinking about it. I can, if I choose to, go do something else, go for a walk, sit with a friend, talk with a friend, you know, do something relaxing, do something calming. So these basic techniques from CBT get put into this so that you can then think about what's going on after you've calmed yourself down. Many times you will find out that the more stressed you are, the more you have these thoughts. And that, when you're calm, should be an indicator to you that maybe they're not true, because if you don't think them all the time, you just think them when you're very, very emotional. Now, sometimes when you have BPD, you can be very emotional a lot of the time anyway. So that seems like most of the time you're having these thoughts. But if you really trace it, a lot of times you're having them when something's bothering you or upsetting you. Now, it is possible to then become sort of like, it's one of those self-fulfilling prophecies where if you think everybody's, against you or talking about you, and then you don't want to talk to them and be friendly because you think that they're not talking to you, and the way they're looking at it is we didn't do anything and this person just doesn't want to be around us, and then they start avoiding you, and then you go, aha, see, they're avoiding me. I knew they didn't like me. And there's your self-fulfilling prophecy. Step back, take a deep breath, observe, remember your perspective, practice something different. That is the basic way of dealing with this. The longer process is actually, making sure you sit down with your therapist and explain to your therapist, I'm having these worries that people are against me, people are talking about me, people are laughing at me. They're doing it behind my back. A trained professional will be able to help talk you through these things and help you calm down and help you get a different perspective, because that's what you're looking for. Okay. So I hope that helps a little bit. If you have more questions, don't be afraid to ask. Any of you that are watching these and then you see me or you get in contact with me, let me know if you want me to go into more detail or explain something. I'm more than happy to do anything I can to help. I hope you have a great Sunday. You take care, and I'll talk to you later, okay? Bye bye.